all walk with an outer glow, living on our insides, casting shadows. The world's spinning around again. We all know, but we all pretend. Earth spinning round again. Blood pumping round again. You said your name was Billy Joe, but you didn't know how to play the piano. Your feet soft on the beaten road, but you kept on traveling to the so-called unknown.
G'day my friends, Marty Ware here from martysgarden.com.au. Exciting show for you today. 1 year into the hungry bin of using it in my backyard in many different ways. I pulled all the compost out. It's all ready and empty to have a good look at. I'm going to share my whole story of how I felt it went for me through the year. I'll talk about also who I think it's good for, who it's not good for, things like that, and really get it like the nitty-gritty of this review in there. And also right at the end, because I've been shooting this over a couple of days, I've been really busy, there's a kangaroo. And I sneak right up on it, and Kara's going, don't dad, it might kick you. Did it have a go? Watch the video to find out more, guys. Marty's Garden is all about compost worms, composting, farming worms indoors and out, and growing some of the most awesome food around. You can learn how by clicking the subscribe button and hitting the bell so you don't miss any of my videos.
Welcome world to the Marty's Garden Show.
Just gonna pull up this seat here. I've been out surfing, so I'm a little bit sore around the shoulders, but I'm ready to do a review about my 1 year experience. So I bought this worm farm for $100 secondhand after speaking at a local event at a gardening club, and I picked it up and thought, why not? $100, can't go wrong. Get lots of worms in there, get lots of castings, does the liquid, breed up my numbers. I thought it's a win-win situation for me for that amount of money. Now, my first experience with it was pretty good. The worms were breeding quickly. I had my own homemade compost in the system, and they were chewing through it. And over time, after about 6 weeks, I went to do my first harvest, looked at it and gone, oh, it's probably not ready, but I was still able to use it in the garden, so that was pretty good. And then other ones, every 6 weeks, I was pulling it out and putting it back on top. And sometimes I was using I was getting the liquid out from the bottom, which I found was really easy to get and really quick. And the worm farm was very productive, very fast. The worms were breeding up like no tomorrow. So I started with about 2,000 worms. Within about a few months, there was easily 10,000 or something in there. And I live in a subtropical climate, so I can have pretty much worms fairly active most of the year round. Now, I think the make is quite good. I think it's quite strong. The wheels are strong, the clips are strong, the plastic mold's strong. The only thing is probably it's a bit heavy, so I wouldn't recommend it for elderly. It's a bit hard to get down and get the clips off and get down underneath to get the castings and to wheel it around just because of the weight. Now, worm farms, as we all know, castings get really heavy, so if you fill up trays of other types of worm farms, they get quite heavy as well. So my experience was I kept on harvesting. If you didn't watch any of the other videos, I've got more videos and reviews on there at the beginning. So as I was harvesting, I was getting fairly happy. And then my recent harvest, I've gone to look and there was nothing in the tray down below. And I was like, oh, why did that happen? And I figured that maybe it got compressed down into the system. So I decided to dig the whole lot out because I've got an order that I can make up, sell some compost, and get that order out and see how many worms are in there. So overall, around about 10,000 worms, and I found that once I got to that number, they stopped laying cocoons, and the bigger worms were escaping and the smaller worms were moving sort of through, and the bigger worms are moving out into the garden. So if you live in a warm climate like me, you probably need to keep it outside because they'll just end up in the ground and stuff in the garage, because as they try to get out through the bottom hole, which they do where the water drains out. So I don't recommend it so much as an indoor worm farm unless you live in a cold space and they don't want to come out into the cold. Now you can get a lot of castings from it. As I said, you can get pretty good liquid from it, and they do breed up the numbers quite well. So overall, I would give it a 6 out of 10, maybe borderline nearly 7 for a score for this worm farm. And I want to know what score you would give it down below. Now, who is this worm farm for? It's for people who've got, an average sized garden, urban garden, want to get a lot of compost, want to recycle their material, got a good spot for it where it's out of the sun all year round, and they like gardening. Overall, it's a pretty good worm farm for that, because it does make a lot of compost. And probably the only thing is it needs a few more holes, it needs to drain a little bit better, and it needs a little bit more airflow. So overall, I recommend it for the average gardener that just wants to grow organically and they want to get rid of their waste, because they do chew through that waste in that worm farm pretty quickly, which is right behind me here. Like the whole mold and everything like that, it's really strong, really sturdy. This one's fairly old now. So I'm pretty happy with it. I'm going to go into round 2 and do my second year of it. I'm going to fill it full of my own compost yet again. Put the worms back in there, probably about 3,000 or something. Use the other 7,000, which I've got a lot of worms to use. So that's pretty cool. We've got to look at the good I don't know how's the word for it. I always run out of words. Maybe give me a word down below in the comments. So we've got to look at the good points and the bad points of the Hungry Bin. I'm not going to sit here and just rip it to pieces, because I feel that it is not a bad worm farm and it does do the job. And it just depends on what you're going to compare it against. I haven't used other flow-through worm farms, so I'm sure there are others out there that have got better airflow and maybe produce, a better worm farm than this. If you've got one, maybe you can send me one. Send me one out. If you're a worm farm company and you want me to review it and run over, I'm happy to do that as well. So let me know what you think about the Hungry Bin worm farm down below, what your experience has been with it. Maybe you're considering using it. Maybe you don't think it's for you. I'd really love to hear what you've got to say. And keep watching the show for more worm farm reviews, more about farming castings, growing awesome plants, all that really cool stuff here at the Marty's Garden Show. Now, before you go, make sure you check out this kangaroo in my backyard. Does he kick me? All right, have a great day. Happy gardening. We'll see you at the next video real soon. Bye for now. martysgarden.com.au. So these are all the castings from the Hungry Bin. Actually, it's sort of a mixture of castings and compost, but what I wanted to show you in the evening while I'm working on this and getting some of the worms out is a big bull kangaroo we got over the street here. So come with us, Karen, on camera. We'll go and have a look and say hello to the bull. Sometimes they stand up. He's not a real big one. If you can hold that nice and steady there, darling.
Dad, I just got out of the shower.
That's alright.
It's not fair.
Look, there he is. There's the bull. You're going to get down nice and close.
Be careful, Dad.
What do you think? I don't think I'm going to be able to pat this one. What do you reckon?
No.
What will he do if I get closer?
Careful, Dad. You
A
might.
little bit.
No, Dad. I don't want to see you get kicked.
What do you reckon, guys? Look, we've got the neighbours here. We're on their front lawn.
Dad, this.
Give them a wave. And we'll go give Skippy a pat. Come on, Skip.
Skippy.
Nah, sorry. We scared Skippy away.
Cheers, Skip.
Hope you don't mind me filming on the front. Is that alright? Thank you.
We all walk with an outer glow, living on our insides, casting shadows. The world's spinning around again. We all know, but we all pretend. Earth spinning round again. Blood